Hope everyone is well. A lot to dissect. I'm going to play information from about a week ago pertaining to the documents pertaining to Malon. So we're going to chop it up from there. Hope that'll be okay with everybody. I need to take this. Hold on one second. I need to take my camera down just a little bit. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Hello. Thank you for joining me. Trying to get myself situated just a little bit. Okay. Let's play this information, everybody.
Investigation into the murder of 13-year-old Maddie Soto. Her mother's boyfriend is accused of sexually abusing her and killing her.
And new documents show that Maddie's mother may have known about that alleged abuse. Fox 35's Marie Ettinger has been going through all the new documents today and joins us live here in the studio tonight. So, Marie, Jennifer Soto has not been charged in this case.
She has not, but the new evidence shows detectives repeatedly questioned her about the relationship between her daughter and her boyfriend. In a fiery conclusion to an Orange County Sheriff's Office incident report, a detective writes Jennifer Soto continuously protected the man accused of sexually abusing and killing her daughter. During one interview, a deputy questioned Soto about why she seems to prioritize Stephan Stearns over her daughter. At one point during that conversation, she referred to, quote, the sex stuff as not evil. The detective writes, it appeared to me that she had already accepted the victimization that was happening, and her emotion appeared fictitious.
It doesn't sound like you've ever had any concerns about Stephan, you know him really well. You've never seen anything wrong with him.
I was very vigilant for the first few years of how he would interact with her and what he would do, and I would question if anything was weird, but nothing ever was truly weird.
Recorded interviews with Stearns' father show him questioning how trustworthy his own son is.
Something's going on. You spent a lifetime lying to us, and it's just never gotten better. Before I left the house the other night, I turned to my wife and I said, do we really know Stephan? Can we honestly say we really know him?
But Soto trusted Stearns enough to let him sleep in the same bed with her daughter, unsupervised.
Of course, in the marriage went out, a little girl sleeping with a man that's not her dad. It sounds weird, but I trusted him enough to,
Hello, everybody.
In another interview with the deputy, Soto mentioned she sent Stearns and Malon to sleep together in a guest room upstairs the night before Malon was reported missing.
I recently have been more rested. I needed some sleep, so I asked, hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs? I knew he was going to get her ready.
These new records also reveal the slew of people who knew something was wrong with Malon, but didn't take action. I'll be talking more about that tonight at 6. Live in studio, Marie Editor, Fox 35 News. Marie.
All right. That was a week ago or so. Let's sit up here a little bit. So. Okay. Strange information. Well, some YouTubers have released information, Mr. Docket, pertaining to March 1st interview, and we're going to discuss a little bit of that. Anything I leave out, feel free to chime in. I'm just going to go over information that's a week or so old pertaining to Malon Soto. Once again, detective says it seems as if Jen had accepted that her child had been abused by Stephan Stearns. So do you believe she already knew the child had been abused? Okay. You've never seen anything wrong with Malon and him together, right? Before that, he says, it doesn't sound like you had any concerns about Stephan. You know him really well. You never seen anything wrong with Malon and him together, right? Jennifer said that at first she didn't trust Stearns with her daughter because she wouldn't trust any man. And we hear that from the March 1st interview. But over the years, she changed her tune. So what is it about him that made her change her tune? Is it because he's a chameleon just like she is? So naturally, he made himself appear that he was a decent human being. I was very vigilant for the first few years of how he would interact with her, and I would question if anything was weird, but nothing was truly weird, she said. Well, this is a person who seems quite naive in her demeanor, her attitude. So we can't really say what she thought was weird and wasn't weird because she seems to be aloof in her mindset dealing with people. Okay, just saying. Did he show any signs and she didn't adhere or pay any attention? I don't know. I'm starting to wonder about that. I don't really believe anything she has to say. That's just from what I've heard, just from these interviews that have been released. I don't trust anything that she said. So her saying, I didn't see any signs, I came to trust him, that means nothing to me because I see in your commentary, in your own, out of your own mouth, you appeared that you're lying to the detectives. So why would I believe anything you have to say in your commentary? I don't believe that. Jennifer told the detectives Malon and Stearns would often sleep. Malon and Stearns would often sleep together in her bed and other times would sleep alone and unsupervised on a separate bedroom. She said the night before she reported Malon is missing, she wanted a good night's sleep, slept in her bedroom, blah, blah, blah. Asked Stearns and Malon to sleep in the guest room together. Well, that also changed too in her interview. First it's not often, then it's rarely, then it's occasionally. So which is it? Because it can't be rare and then occasionally. Rare means really like one time. Very rare. Rarely. Occasionally. That's like what? Once a week? Twice a week? You see where I'm going with this? This is nonsense. This is despite the home having enough space for all three people to sleep in different rooms, detectives note. But then we learned that the father, her father owns this place. So he's basically the person, allegedly, delegating who sleeps where per how much money he can get per room. We also learned with that commentary pertaining to the room situation, she's paying $400, Stephan paid $600, one person paid $650, then another person paid $850. Do you see how barbaric this sounds? It's bias, even though we know it's this person's property, but it doesn't make any logical sense for one person to be paying $850 versus somebody paying $400, okay? You would think, okay, the master bedroom on the ground floor, which is her room, I'm assuming it was probably the bigger room, that would command $850 if indeed that room was bigger. Jennifer's room, see, it's just a lot of nonsense. The case doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. And then you also have to ask why she got a lawyer to speak with the district attorney. You initially spoke without an attorney. You did a TV interview. You did another interview where you were more coiffed and, talking like you were doing a blog, which is bizarre. No crying, no nothing. Laughing about a bird and all this other type of fucking nonsense. But then all of a sudden, when you were commanded to come into the district attorney, now it's, I better go get a lawyer. So I'm also curious about the lawyer. Is the lawyer a hired lawyer? And if she hired a lawyer, who's paying for the lawyer? Or did a lawyer hear what was going on and reached out to her to say, hey, we're willing to take your case or imminent case pro bono? I'm curious. Once again, the house had enough space for the child to have her own room. Recorded interviews with Stearns' father showing him questioning how trustworthy his son is, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, Jennifer trusted him to sleep alone in the same bed with her daughter, which makes no damn sense to anybody, okay? They talked to a little girl who lived in the neighborhood. She said when she turned 13, she'd run away, but I don't know why the little girl told the deputies. So why did Malon tell this child this? She wanted to run away into the woods. Incident reports reveal friends told detectives about Malon seeming pretty sad and about her having a meltdown days before her death. And we hear that was because of Well, we heard the day of, she was upset because certain people she wanted at the party, and I understand that she's a child. But what was bothering her days before that she seemed like she was having a meltdown? Then we also get information that Mr. Stearns was acting peculiar the Saturday before the birthday party. The party was on the 25th, which was a Sunday. Saturday would have been the 24th. He's acting peculiar, nervous, needing meds, asking his dad for some type of sedatives or whatever. What the hell was going on with these people? Occasionally, she would start crying. You think that would happen once a month? A detective asked a friend of Madeline's. Sometimes it would just happen, the little girl said. So how many times was this child crying? I didn't even hear that. This is Fox 35. So how often was the little girl crying to her friends? How often did she cry in her house? We also need to dig into the belly of the beast that the said photographs of Madeline are not in one room. It has been verified sexual assault took place in the same room that the mother claims her daughter never slept in. Stay woke. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Tony. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is crazy to me. Oh, she only slept with me, and occasionally, rarely, she slept upstairs with him. But the sex abuse pictures have the hamper in the background, the picture that we have seen recently here on YouTube, with his underwear flung on top of the hamper, okay? That room, her little makeshift room, is in the sex abuse pictures. So that means he was abusing her in that infamous room that she didn't sleep in. So we've got the infamous room number 4, and we've got the room that she didn't sleep in, but they are in sex abuse pictures, okay? Hold on, you guys. Already got problems. Absolutely ridiculous. Police reports revealed that a counselor told detectives Malon would have sleepy days where she would come in, put her head down, and do nothing. And he suspected she may have been depressed. So let's go to that. We have the mother saying, you know, she was over-medicated maybe once or twice or whatever by Mr. Stearns. Couldn't wake her up. She had to call the drug hotline. That comment seemed kind of strange. The way she worded it, like I had to see what would happen. So I didn't understand if she was trying to say I wanted to see what happened to my child, or I called the drug hotline because of what? See, with her, you can't really tell. You understand what I'm saying? What the hell's going on? Seemed depressed. So we have a little girl saying she wanted to run into the woods. Another friend saying she cried, just would cry. Then we have a teacher saying she had sleepy days, wouldn't do nothing. We also hear Madeline talking about that in that March 1st interview about the child having school problems, making C's, D's, and F's. ADHD, couldn't remember nothing, couldn't remember where she put something. And in school, not doing her homework as well. So maybe that's the only damn thing she told us the actual truth. Hello, Kat. Thank you, Kat. So we got teachers saying she was depressed, appeared depressed, sleepy. Another counselor noted Malon had talked about Stearns before, saying he was weird and made her uncomfortable. Said her grades improved after December when Stearns left the house. So the grades went up when he left. So that is a sign that something was going on. And now that we have the pictures to show us he was assaulting the young girl, the grades pick up. And the mom, you didn't notice that? Jennifer, you didn't notice the child grades going up? We hear that they give, text messages about your children being absent at school, not at school. I'm assuming they also send text messages to let you know something's going on with your child. You don't think it has anything to do with your boyfriend leaving? And then we also learned you all were talking about getting back together, moving back in or getting a place together. This is ridiculous. Stearns has a status hearing October 14th. He's declined previous appearances to appear in court thus far. That's older content pertaining to Malon Soto. Yeah, we know. Well, go on and go. What are you telling me for? Let's get down to business. Welcome to the Vault Excel. I may miss over some things because I was kind of like lying down late this morning listening to the March 1st interview per courtesy of the docket. So if I leave anything out, feel free to chime in. Was she pregnant? Okay. Was she pregnant? Was the child pregnant? Hey, honey, how are you? Was the child pregnant? Why was it mentioned so much during the interview with the detective that was talking to her, to Jennifer Soto? Mentions it a lot, talking about tracking her period and last time she had a period, using private, using products and things. Why was it mentioned so many times in different interviews? Why was she up and down in her commentary when she spoke? 1 minute, she's talking fine. Then the next minute, she whispers an answer. So this is why you know there's something up with her. She's deceptive. That's my take on it. I was listening to this, the docket's live stream, different people giving their commentary because the chat was rolling so fast. He's putting their comments on the screen. It was a few people in the audience making excuses for her. I don't make any excuses for her because she's a mother. You can't 1 minute say you're vigilant about watching your child, doing this, this, and this. But then yet a child molester just so happens to be in your house with your kid. You also have strangers coming in your house staying. So see, this was a recipe for disaster anyway. If there was no Stephan Stearns, Jennifer is the problem, okay? Nobody's erasing what Stern has done. But I've always said the story was deeper than Stephan Stearns. When you listen to this March 1st interview, you see that she's the problem. Motive. What is the motive? She was pregnant. They thought she was pregnant. The mother was jealous of her child. The mother was envious of her child. We hear conversations about why she didn't trust men, but yet she ended up trusting Mr. Stearns, okay? It's contradictory. So at one point you didn't trust him, but you learned to trust him. But yet all along he was molesting your child. Did he pick her because he wanted to have access to a child? See, there's lots of questions you have to ask, and you'll probably never get the answers to those questions for the obvious reasons. He doesn't want to talk. He's saying he's not guilty. She's playing dumb like she didn't know anything was going on between this man and her kid. You'll never get the truth. And the dead girl can't tell us anything. Motive, pregnant, mom jealous. He's upset that she's not wanting to be in tune to the sexual assault. Maybe she's speaking it verbally. Hey, I don't like this. I don't want this. Maybe she said something to her mother. Maybe she said something to a family member. Maybe a family member went back and said something to Jen. Hey, we're getting information that he's touching her. He's acting inappropriate. Okay? Your mother, that's who it is. What's the motive for unaliving Malon Soto? What was the motive? Did she speak up? Rebuff his advances? Is it an issue of her liking boys, boys liking her? She's interested in someone. Oh, she's not going to be interested in me. I also want to know if the girl was awake during some of the sexual assaults, because that's going to play a pivotal role in the conversations that she had with the friends, neighbors, neighbor children, the counselors. Because if she was awake, then that means she's aware of what he's doing. That means she did not tell people the truth of why she felt uncomfortable around Stephan. So I'd like to know if the child was awake during the sexual assaults. Because at some point, I have to assume that she was awake. And the fact that there are photographs, videos of her makeshift room in the sexual assaults, that means he didn't give a damn about even being caught with the child, because that's an open room. That room is only partitioned by screens. So what did I tell you before in my commentary about having relations with a human being? You will make noises. So it's one thing to be up on the top floor assaulting a child. We know he has to make sounds. I would assume the child will make sounds as well. Now we have evidence that you were doing it downstairs in the open room. So where was Jennifer while he's assaulting the child in the open room? I'm telling you. People need to wake up, because this is deep, this information, okay? This is absolutely ridiculous. I do believe on occasion she was awake. I find it brazen of him to be committing the crime anyway in the house upstairs where roommates can hear, and now we have evidence he was in the makeshift room, in the girl's makeshift room. So where was Jennifer when he was in her bedroom that's partitioned from the living room? She may have been pregnant. Once again, up and down when she's being asked questions, her voice, she's talking plain like how I'm talking right now. And then when he asks her certain questions, she mumbles, you know, like a little rat. And you can't hear what she's saying. That's because she's guilty in her answers. Because you can't be talking fine 1 minute, and then when he asks you another question, pause, 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 and then she whispers, no, I don't know. She knows exactly the answer. She doesn't want to tell the truth. When the detective talks to her about the child being in the car, asking her what she thought, she's asking him, was she dead? Well, he doesn't know. He's asking you, he's asking you to see what you have to say. He's asking you to see what your answer is about the child in the car with her mouth ajar. And then she talks about how she wouldn't sleep like that. I would assume she would lean her head towards the door, but not in that position. Yeah. Because you know your child, right? So you know how your child would sleep, but you don't know that your child's being sexually assaulted. This is just ridiculous. Throwing clothes in the dumpster. He asked her, what do you think he was throwing away in the dumpster? Shows her pictures of Stephan Stearns at the apartment dumpster, okay? So she said something about the plastic bags. But what's interesting, she mentions clothes. Well, they didn't tell her clothes were in the bag. They just asked her, what do you think he's dumping in the dumpster? So she mentions clothes. The detective goes on to tell her it's her backpack, laptop, and a shoe. And then we also learn the mate to the shoe was found in Jennifer's room. So now you got to ask yourself, where did the child become unalive? Because we also get information about the phone. He asked her about the phone. Where would she put her phone? She mentions, oh, it's in that room on the dresser by her TV. That's where the phone was that morning. But what's interesting is that she allegedly laid out her clothes. Where? Upstairs. She took them to room number 4. In her room. Jen's room. Because we have a shoe in your room. A shoe in the dumpster. Her phone on the dresser in her room. So where were her clothes laid out? He talks about the outfit she was wearing. What was she wearing the morning of? 1 minute she sees her, then she doesn't see her. So he asks her, well, how can you describe what she had on? The green shirt, hoodie, black pants, if you didn't see her, okay? So then she changes it. Oh, well, That's what I told her to lay out. That's what she laid out the night before. So that's why I said, where did she lay the clothes out? Because that is what she was found in, deceased. So did she lay out that outfit for her clothes the next morning? Or that's what they put her in after she was unalived? See, caught her lying there. How do you know what she wore that morning if you didn't see her? Oh, those are the clothes she laid out. Here's a person that's lazy, don't even get up out of the bed, I doubt. She takes her to school allegedly, but all this is a ruse to me, orchestrated. And I believe they had time to get their lives together because she didn't report the child missing until 8 o'clock. So if she knew the child was dead Sunday night, early Sunday morning, wee hours, they had all day to get their lives together after he disposed the child's body. And I think it's interesting that they would be on the same page with their stories. So that's why I said, you got to have time to rehearse the lies. So they had some hours to sit and he say, I went here, I did this, I went over here at this time, and you need to say this, 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 and this. For all we know, this was orchestrated. We'll talk about that as well. Was this an orchestrated hit on a girl child? A deliberate unaliving of a child, okay? And we need to talk about this because they're not truthful. Either party is truthful, okay? Checkmate. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I believe those clothes they put her in after. Yeah, she didn't lay those clothes out. Trust. We hear her talk about not trusting men. Her mother told her growing up not to trust men. Why did her mother tell her that? See, the cop, you left that open. There are a few things in the interviews that you all left open that you should have inquired more. When you asked her about her relationship with him and why those two were sleeping together, her child and him, you should have also asked, well, why did your mother not trust men? Did your mother tell you why she didn't trust men? So what issues did she have, did the mother have with men? Her father, was he a problem? Maddie's father? I mean, Jen's father, was he a problem for the mother? Was Jen sexually assaulted, abused physically, mentally, verbally as a child? I've always asked that because I got a feeling she probably was. I also believe Stephan Stearns probably was sexually abused as well as a child. The fact that she compares them all the same with the ADHD and the psych meds and all that. You hear a lot of that talk in here about the psych meds in this March 1st interview. What led her to trust Stephan Stearns with her child? Because what doesn't make any sense, you talk about your child not having sleepovers. You won't let your child go to a friend's house for a sleepover because you don't know what's going to happen. You're worried about somebody filming her on an airplane, so you're worried about her flying out to see her father out west. But yet all along, inside of your house is a child molester. A man who is filming and taking pictures of your child and penetrating your child in different rooms, and you have the audacity to tell the police you don't know of anything, don't know where she is, don't know that she was abused, trusted this same man who's abusing your child. It just seems ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What made her trust Stephan Stearns, and did she know that he was abusing her child? Worrying about what the New York Post put out pertaining to redacted information. Why would you be concerned about what a newspaper is publishing about your life and your child's life and Stephan Stearns? Explain that to me. You would only be concerned because you have knowledge of what was going on all along and what the evidence has revealed he was doing with your child. Isn't that correct? You knew all along that Stephan was molesting your child, and somebody comes back to tell you about redacted reports that the Post had put out, what do you care? You were worried about the security guard, how he looked at you when you came home. Why are you worried about what the security guard has to say or how he's looking at you checking into the gate? You didn't have your clicker. Because if you had your clicker, it wouldn't matter what was going on with the security guy, correct? You click the gate, it opens, you drive on in. You don't even have to give him eye contact. And I'm assuming you'll be a passenger because they kept your car for forensics. So you don't have to even look at the security guy, Jen. Why are you worrying about the security guy? You told the detective you're worrying about what he said or how he was looking at you. Now everybody knows your business because of what happened to Malon. People are talking. New York Post putting out information. So you're worried about everybody else but your child. Didn't go out and look for your child? Oh, that's right. I wanted to be home just in case she came home. That's a good one. That's a damn good answer. That's a damn good answer. I wanted to be home just in case my child returned. But she wasn't going to return, was she? Because she was dead. Interesting. Once again, she's comparing herself with Malon and Stephan Stearns, how they're all evenly yoked in their disposition of having ADHD, forgetfulness, bipolarism, blah, blah, blah. How convenient. So is this the reason why you kept your child to yourself, huddled in? We learned that the child didn't go many places because you didn't have the money. We also learned that Stephan Stearns didn't have any money. So you couldn't take your daughter anywhere but to Walt Disney, whatever. Well, I would assume that costs. It costs to go to Walt Disney. Walt Disney isn't cheap, from my understanding. So how often did you take her in the short years she was living? You said she liked to hang in the park behind the apartment. He asked you about taking her to different parks. You said no. So she didn't go to the movies. She didn't go to the mall. She didn't go to sports events at the school activities. She didn't go anywhere, to the museum, anywhere. She just hung with you, Stephan, inside of an apartment playing board games and watching movies. That was the life of a 12-year-old, 13-year-old. You didn't have any money. So we're going to ask now, why did you decide to go get a job? Because you were broke, I assume. You needed to supplement your disability check. How long have you been receiving a check? He also asked you why you're receiving a check for your disability. And you were like, oh, for a little of this, that, little of that. I'm just paraphrasing. Mainly for PTSD. PTSD. Why do you have PTSD? So then she goes on to explain she was, I'm assuming, sexually assaulted by someone who she went out on a date. Went to a car dealer. Things didn't work out. He said, now I can ask you out on a date since you're not an employee. Oh, she went there for a job, excuse me. So I can date my employee, he says. So she goes out on a date. But what I found interesting is something she said, and I want everyone to pay close attention to this now. She says, I never had anybody ask me out on a date in person. What? Look, what you say, Willis, you never had anybody ask you out on a date in person. What the hell you mean? So how were these men asking you out that you met, and women? Because we also learned she's bisexual. So how did these people ask you out, Jennifer? Is it you met people through social media and they just came over to your house? So what am I supposed to believe? The people you met, they were broke as well. They couldn't take you out. Number two, You met people out in the street and they just came to your house. They didn't take you out either. Because it can't go but one or two ways. You met the people in the street through somebody else and they just showed up at your house, okay? Number two, you met them on social media, an app, IG, Facebook, and they just showed up to your house. And people are going to assume, well, what? You had sex, you talked, played board games. We're all grown, we do what we want. But I find it interesting you said that in that interview. I never had anyone ask me out on a date in person. So one's going to say, well, then how did you meet people to start dating them in the first place? Lunacy. Roommates. We learned in his March 1st interview that one of the roommates said she did not want Stephan using the restroom upstairs. Why is that? Why did she not want him to use the restroom? So did the other roommate also say she didn't want Stephan using the restroom? Now let's think about it. Who was the roommate that said, hey, your daughter and him are in a room together? Hello, Justice. Your daughter and him are in a room together. So which roommate said that? Which roommate asked about not having him up there to use the restroom? Why did she not want him using the restroom? Because you're all living equally in a house together and paying rent. So why is someone telling Jennifer this when the father owns the apartment? Checkmate. So you got to pay attention to the information. You're the one that put the numbers on the doors because you thought it was a good idea. Roommates coming to you to complain about Stephan using the restroom, sharing the restroom, but not the father who's the owner. It seems like to me you're doing a lot of the orchestrating for somebody who ain't no homeowner. Checkmate. Exactly. See, there's more to this. Did Stephan Stearns try to come on to any of the roommates? Did he have any sexual relationships with the roommates? We also learned that he filmed one of them under the door. So is this the same female who didn't want him using the bathroom? Did they ever complain to the father, Mr. Soto, or whoever he is, about Stephan living there, oddities with him, his behavior? Because I believe there's something more to this. Because now we need to find out if the woman he filmed under the door is the same one that said, I don't want him using the restroom. Checkmate. And I also want to know if she has had any relationships with the women since we learned she's also bisexual. Did she have any sexual relationships with those women? Because as I've said in my commentary before, if she can date Stephan, break up with him, give him a separate room to sleep in, she also could have done the same thing with the other women. Stay woke. He likes to buy toys, shop. He's bipolar. One symptom of bipolar is what they would call binge shopping, if you've never heard that before. That's a symptom of bipolar. Binge shopping, erratic shopping. So we learned that he likes to shop when he's stressed. Okay? And that is a symptom of being bipolar, if you did not know that. So I found that interesting as well. Here's a man who's broke, don't got no money, can't take you out, can't buy you anything. His parents end up having to pay his rent at your condo, the hell you don't even own. But when he gets stressed, he likes to shop. So she's talking about his demeanor and trying to tell the detectives who he is and what he's about and why he'd go to Target and this store and that store. He likes to go from store to store. But what I find so interesting is that many of you all, let's keep it real, love to shop online. I am not an online shopper because one, I don't like to wait for anything. I don't know how it's going to look when I get it. I don't know if it's going to be broke when I get it. It may not fit, whatever. And then I got to worry about sending it back and going through all that. And then I also worry about my personal information being compromised, which that has happened the first time I ordered something online years ago when I ordered a Bluetooth box. So anyway, we have all these people in the world who love to shop online. Why is this guy not shopping online? Because let you tell it, Jennifer, he had packages coming to your house. Is that what you told the detective? So this is really ridiculous to me. This is really ridiculous to me. He's getting packages into your house while he was back at home living with his parents. Moved out, what, 23, June of 23. We also get information, that's when you two had a conversation in your text messages about her not sleeping in your bed, being risky. What was that all about? We'll get to that here too. Why was he sending packages to that address when he wasn't living there? Did he stress shop? Did he ever order things online and had it sent to his house at his parents' house? Or did he use Jennifer's house as a ruse to have a reason to go up there to poke around, sneak around, and sexually assault her daughter? Checkmate, because I say yes. I got to figure out a way to be up there near this little girl. I'm obsessed with her. She's my play toy. I got to be near her. Now, what you have to also ask yourself is, what did he really feel for Jennifer Soto? Did he have some type of feelings toward her, some type of affection towards her, while also having same or similar feelings for her daughter? Okay? Because something is keeping him near her, wanting to be near her. The fact she gives him a room because she felt sorry for him. He's trying to get on his feet. He needed a job, but yet he can't do anything for you. He can't buy you anything. He can't take you anywhere. So all the activity is in this stinky white box, the stinky condo that is lifeless, as I've described to you, and you've seen the pictures here on YouTube. Just a white box, white floors, white walls, white cabinets, white microwave, white everything. Shower curtains white, everything's white. Like it's a hotel. When you go into a hotel, what do you see? You don't see a colored shower curtain. You rarely see colored curtains unless it's an old-timey hotel, motel. Because it was a business. It was a business for the father. And in the end, Malon Soto paid the price for this business venture. You see, it's all creepy. Another thing, her moving back to the apartment, that was mentioned in the interview. Why'd you move back? See, the detective, you left that open. There are a few things you left open in your commentary with Jennifer Soto, and you had that opportunity and you didn't take advantage of it. So I'm going to take advantage of it now in this live stream. Why didn't you ask her, well, why did you move back to this condo? Because when you say back, that leads me to believe you lived there before. So if she lived there before, why did she move out? Did the father put her out? She wouldn't pay any rent, so he wanted her out? So how many places has she lived, including the condo? Why did she move back? Why would you move in a place without a bedroom for your child? You also tell us that before you had a bedroom for your child in the last apartment. Why did you leave that place? Were you a problem? Was Stephan a problem? Was he there at that apartment? See, 1,000 questions you can ask. We don't have the damn answers. But I do believe there's more to come pertaining to affidavits and police reports and what they have gathered. It's a matter of when we will find out. We have YouTubers paying for the information. We will see what else will be released. We will also see if indeed this child was pregnant, and that was the motive for the murder of Malon Soto, because it may play an intricate part. And if she was pregnant, why have they not released that information to the public? I want to know. Thank you all so much for joining me. All these different drugs she was taking, drugs the daughter was taking, drugs he was taking. Were these addicts? Used to popping pills. Did they take any other type of drugs such as narcotics? Meth, heroin, crack, cocaine, marijuana. We also learned that she took marijuana pills. We also have the cop asking about that pertaining to the girl. Because I believe they found it in her system. Marijuana pills. Perhaps she was drugged when she was assaulted. See, we don't know, because we don't know if this was a deliberate murder or if she was drugged, sexually assaulted, then strangled and disposed of. Why is a grown man buying toys? As I said before, stress shopper. He's a stress shopper. 37-year-old man buying toys. He's had a birthday since being incarcerated. He's now 38. Why was he buying toys? Because he has a childlike mind, childlike disposition. I also believe she has a childlike mind. So they were evenly yoked. The universe brought two grown childlike people together. But what is the old saying about playing childish games? You win childish prizes or foolish prizes. And indeed they have, because now one's incarcerated for murder and sexual assault, and the mother has gotten some type of partial immunity, but I believe they made sure to ask her all these questions thoroughly to show she has been lying, and they have the proof. That's why they made sure to tell her at the state's attorney's office to be very careful what she says in her answers, because there'll be no going back if they decide to bring the bang, and I pray that they will. Because what's the point in all these damn questions and saying, be careful how you answer them, unless you have something against Jennifer Soto? Who was the guy that we are going to believe sexually assaulted her that gave her PTSD? Or did she already have PTSD before she was sexually assaulted by this guy? All that was redacted in that interview, but we're going to use judgment that she was sexually assaulted from that date at his apartment. Who is that guy? Where is he? How long did they date? Where is he now? Excuse me, was he prosecuted? I also like to know her relationship with her mother, the same woman that keeps telling her not to trust men. What happened with her mother? Do they have a good relationship? Love, hate? What's her relationship with her father? What's her relationship with her sisters, brothers, whomever? We also hear she was staying with a sister. Sister and mother were helping her with her daughter. But yet she's got Stephan Stearns coming up here playing nursemaid, babysitter. I also believe she didn't do much with the child. She's already told that anyway. I believe she's lazy, ornery. She was not a good role model for her child. She's the reason her child is missing, not just because this man murdered her child. It's because she brought this man into her life, and she tells us that there were no signs. Well, she tells detectives, there were no signs that he was abusing my child, but I believe there were signs. Because one, he acts like a child who wants to play with children's toys and shit. Nothing wrong with wanting to play a game of Connect 4. Hey, I like a good game of Connect 4, but it ain't my itinerary every damn day, okay? Nothing wrong with sitting around playing Uno cards today or holidays with your family and friends, but hey, give it a rest. Little bitty toys. You know, I'm not collecting little bitty, Barbie dolls and Barbie doll houses and shit. I'm too old for that. That's the whole point. You put away childish things at some point. He did not. And when you look at her room in those photos, it's full of stuffed animals and shit. Most of it probably, might be belonging to the little girl, but it still shows she was an adult. She didn't have grown people pictures, lamps, pretty things in her room to show that she's feminine, to show her taste and her likes. She showed us it was nothing but black racks full of shit just piled up. Wasn't feminine. But yet you saw pictures of her where she was dolled up, makeup, colored hair, all of that. Still a chameleon. All this talk about not trusting men, eventually trusting Stephan Stearns, but in the end, Stephan Stearns was abusing your child, and you want us to believe you didn't see the signs? You willingly sent your child to this man. And we're now going to touch on the elephant in the room pertaining to the sexual assault. You said, which is very pivotal here, I always worried about my man running off with my child. What you say? You're worrying about your man running off with your child. Did that happen to your mother? Did your mother have an issue with your father or one of her men messing with one of her children? Checkmate. Because that has to come from somewhere. Stay woke, because I'm woke. There's a reason for these comments to the detective. Your mother obviously has a problem with men, probably hates men. You grow up confused, bisexual, playing games with men and women, living in houses with roommates, men and women, codependent, vulnerable, weak-minded, gullible. One roommate tells detectives that. You were very green, very vulnerable, and the person she saw play out here on the news is not a person she recognizes. So there's something in your history that leads you to not be trusting of men and choose the wrong men. And there are a lot of good women out here who have chose the wrong man. It's not to say that the women are bad women. And I include myself in that. We make mistakes. We try to change people. We try to make them to be what we think they should be. Because naturally, you're saying that to yourself. He could be so much better than what he is. But he don't want to be. And you knew that about Stephan. Probably the reason why you like women. Because you saw how these men are out here. They are dogs. Not all, but a majority are dogs. And you knew this. It's probably why you took up with women. Is that right, Jennifer? Have you always been attracted to women, or you became attracted to women when you realized it really wasn't safe liking men? So that makes me wonder if you were abused as a child by a man sexually. How could you trust this thing? It's abusing your child. But yet you didn't want your child to have a life and go out here and see the world and experience being a child. She was never a child to you. She was a toy, a doll, and you invited other people into your life to do the same to her. See, this is why I said I wouldn't doubt if she was sexually assaulting her child, because there's something wrong with her. She told the detective, she's always slept in my bed. Why? Why was she always sleeping in your bed? This is why I said the child could have been assaulted before Stephan Stearns came into the picture. Pay attention. She's telling you a story. You gotta listen. You gotta listen. I think she hated her child at some point, okay? Because this is where we've got to go into the belly of the beast to decide who Jennifer Soto is in her relationship with Malon. Did she hate the child at birth? Did she not want the child when she was pregnant? Or she rode the ride and carried her anyway? Protecting her for what reason? Why was she always sleeping with you? This is odd to me. And yes, I know a lot of people sleep with their children, but I don't recommend it. And doctors won't recommend it either. It's not healthy. You don't sleep with a newborn. You roll over and kill your kid, suffocate your child. Duh. You keep letting your children sleep in the bed with you, they'll never get out. So you'll never have a relationship with your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, because your child is there. And let's be truthful. That's not a place you want to be doing grown folks things where your children hear you moaning and groaning and they see you naked and sweating. Come on, let's stop this foolishness. She tell us, oh, she had a room at one time. What happened? This makes no sense to me. Child sleeping with the mother up until 13. Mother allowed the child to sleep in the bed with her and a man up until 13. Lying to the detectives occasionally, rarely. She sleep in a room 4. And now we hear that there's evidence that he was messing with the little girl in her own bed. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Are we going to find out that Stephan Stearns was sleeping in the other room with Malon Soto? Checkmate. She was excited when she talked about Stephan Stearns during this March 1st interview. Why is that? Because that's who she cared for. Probably still does. In fact, she wanted him to have a lawyer. Told the father that. No concern for her child. No looking for her child. No crying for her child. Detectives telling her during the interviews, you don't cry, you don't show any emotion toward your child. You're concerned with Stephan Stearns, what he needs, rubbing, holding him, nursing him, and your child was missing because you already knew your child was missing. You already knew your child was abused. That's why you're worried about the New York Post putting information out that was redacted because you didn't want the public to know that your man had been sleeping with your child. Baiting your child. You baited her. You served her on a platter willingly. You're a willing participant. You didn't want that out. You didn't want people to know he was molesting your child. You knew eventually what was going to be found on your phone. His phone. It's no erasing anything. Factory reset my butt. The truth was revealed. What happened with your roommates, ma'am? I believe something happened with your roommates. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I believe something happened with your roommates and Stephan Stearns. I believe there was some type of sexual improprieties, perhaps. He has made advances, said something. There's way more to the story than Stephan Stearns. Please pay attention or you'll miss everything. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. There's way more to the story than what he did to the child. That's why I keep trying to tell you, put Stephan Stearns on the back burner for just a second. I believe this child was probably abused before Stephan Stearns. I don't doubt that this woman has done something sexual with her own child. She has told you she likes women. It's not to be disrespectful to any bisexual or homosexual women or men, but we keeping this shit real, okay? I don't trust nobody. And what have I told you about true crime and people in general? If you lie about one thing, you'll lie about another. Say it again, Queen. If you lie about one thing, you'll lie about another. If you lie about what happened the night of the 25th, the 26th, you'll aid a sadistic person to not be discovered as a child molester, murderer. You are equally the same. You would do the same. Checkmate. There is no difference. It's what I keep trying to make people understand about aiding people. You're showing the world you're cut from the same cloth. I'm going to aid this fool in wrongdoing. And we're not talking about your typical type of crime. We're not talking about petty stealing from Walmart. We're talking about sexual assault and murder. Was she jealous of her child? Envious. She knew he was attracted to her child. And perhaps she said, Mommy always told me not to trust men. I see the signs he likes my daughter. I know he's messing with my daughter. I'm going to give him to my daughter. Give her to Stephan in order to keep him around. I know he's no good. I know he can't offer me anything. I know he doesn't make any money. I know he won't keep a job. I know he's ADHD, bipolar, whatever the hell he's got going on. So am I. We're really the same. My daughter is the same. We are all three evenly yoked. And I won't doubt that in that statement she said to the detectives, Jennifer was telling you, we have all been together sexually because we are all one. But at some point on this journey, the third wheel had to go. Malon was the third wheel. We can no longer play this game. 1, pregnant. 2, I'm tired of her. 3, I want them all to myself. 4, he realizes she don't want to play the games and interested in boys. Which is it? Which is it? One, two, three, 4, all of the above. Thank you so much for joining me. That's my commentary. I will come back on later. Well, I'll do the live stream with the link, and you can feel free to come up. I didn't do it before because nobody seems to want to ever hit the link, and I did it live by the other device. But that's the purpose of the link, is to give you an opportunity to call in to speak, to tell me how you feel about the said commentary at hand. I do not want to go back to my old ways of doing live streams where I just upload the content, give an 8-minute, 10-minute video, and just keep it moving. I feel like that some days because I feel like I'm really wasting my time up here doing these long-winded live streams because I'm not getting the just due from the content that I'm bringing. So that's the reason why I went live by the device instead of doing it by the live stream, because it seems to be a waste of time with the live stream. But I always like to use it because it's an opportunity to give you all a voice, but nobody takes advantage of it. And that's something I don't really understand. How you can continuously chat, but you can't, come up and give your opinion pertaining to the information. But I will try it again to do it with the live stream and the link. But after that, I will change my format from here on out. Because as I've told people, the more I do these stories, the more I look at life, the more I evaluate my own life. My time is very valuable to me. I do not want to invest my time another minute, going round and around on this box up here, doing stuff that is not beneficial to me. You understand? I like trying to engage with the chat, but just some things I've seen in the few years of doing this, things I'm still noticing on other people's networks. It's just a lot of utter disrespect for the creator, and it needs to be said. And I noticed this in somebody else's live stream I was watching today and last night. Just the constant babysitting that YouTubers have to give with the people in the chat, it's baffling to me, and I think it's so disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the creator. It's disrespectful to the content. The constant babysitting, having to always, issue reprimands during the live. It's pathetic and it's sad. And I've said it in the past month. It makes me not even want to even bring any content because that's not my job. My job is to bring you the information, read your feedback, give my feedback, put up polls, go from there, keep it moving. But I've learned it's a double-edged sword, as Stephan would say. It's a double-edged sword. And indeed it is. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for those stopping in, viewing the content. I'll be back with more stimulating content. If I didn't touch on something that was in that March 1st interview, we'll talk about it at a later date. But I was just hitting on some points from the top of my memory pertaining to that. I think this is a very sad, pathetic case. And I want to say this too. I was watching a video the other day. It was a video where a woman was talking about cleaning out her house. Because you all know I'm very OCD. I don't like clutter, don't like junk. So I watch a lot of videos on decluttering and watching people clean their houses and, rearrange their rooms. Anyway, she had a little girl sitting at the table eating cereal. And I was watching her interact with her daughter, and she's asking her questions and stuff. And the little girl was talking and showing her art projects and, walking around the house. And the thing that I was thinking about is the obvious. I said, we see a lot of people, and you don't really know them. You don't know how they're living. You don't know their lives, whether they're out here or they're on YouTube or Facebook, IG, wherever, and they show you pictures going live, doing things, but you don't know them. Like this Malon Soto story. You don't know them. So what I was thinking about this little girl who looked like she was about 10, 11. I was thinking about her and her mother. I was thinking, what's the relationship between she and her mother? Who does her mother have around her? Is she taking good care of her? Is she meeting her needs? Because you see, looking at a video is an illusion. Looking at photographs of people is an illusion. You don't really know that pictures people take that maybe 10 minutes before they were feeling depressed, wanted to kill themselves, jump off a bridge. See where I'm going? So even in watching a live stream of this woman talk about cleaning her house, cluttered up kitchen, I mean, shit everywhere. Here's this little girl sitting at a table, and that's the first thing comes to my mind. What relationship does she have with her child? Is she close to her child? Is her child loved? Does the child love her mother? Is the child happy? And I'm going to always think that every time I see a photograph of somebody and a child, every time I see you going live with your kid, every time you taking pictures of your kid and you posting them to Facebook and IG, kids posing, I want to know, is that kid happy? Are you happy having that kid? Are you struggling mentally with that kid? Are you thinking evil things with that kid? Are you allowing somebody to do evil things to your kid? I'm going to always think that now more than ever. Because there is another Madeline Soto sitting somewhere depressed and crying to herself, wanting to run in the woods. There's a mother out here enabling a sadist, okay? There's a mother who don't give a fuck about her kid, but she's pretending that she does. There's a sadist lurking in the closet, but he's visible too. And he's eating it up that nobody knows what he's doing. He's eating it up that they know what he's doing. They haven't turned his ass in. You see, you don't know people. Just like this live stream. And you don't know if I was sad yesterday, happy today. You don't know what I'm going through. That's the point. Because you don't know people. We are all flawed. Let me make that clear. We all have good and bad days. We've all done wrong. It's a matter of us standing a tone for what we've done, owning our shit. But abuse, sexual, mental, verbal, physical, you don't get a pass. I don't care who you are. You do not get a pass to do either of those things to anyone and to a child. You don't get a pass. And to allow it is wrong. And as I told you in the live stream, that was 8 hours long, that I'm sure many of you probably don't know how I ended that live stream. I shared with you a true story of child abuse and where the parent allowed a child abuser to be around her children, and on her deathbed, she was still the same person. She never stood account for allowing this person to be around her children. And that's a sick thing to know, that she knew all along what her brother had been doing to her children because he had done it to her. Okay. He had done it to her and her sisters. So this is why I'm saying to you, it is a generational curse, child abuse, physical, sexual. It doesn't start at that place that you see it and hear it. It's been going on somewhere else. She died knowing what her brother did to her children. As I said, because he had done it to she and her sisters. And her role was to never let that man be around her children. And the sick part of the story is not just that it was generational. She did nothing about it. And he did it to his own children. And even in death, when he finally died, these kids love their father. Child molester. And I got to witness it with my own eyes. How this generational curse, everybody acting as if this man didn't like touching little girls, trying to sleep with little girls. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? And even one of the nieces, to this day, I'm assuming, would still talk about him as if he didn't touch her as a child. And I look at this person wanting to slap the fuck out of her. Because you knew what he tried to do to you as a child or did to you, because I don't know everything. But what I do know of what was told to me, I don't understand how you could be an adult and still talk about this man as if he was a decent human being. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. The curse continues. And if Maddie was alive today, the curse would still be going on with Stephan Stearns. Because if not Maddie, he would do it to somebody else, somebody else's child. And that's something that detectives are probably wondering, if he's done it to other children. And I think we are all probably wondering that now. Has he sexually assaulted other children? This is why the detective should have asked more questions about his living arrangements with her if they live together in another place, because you need to know why Jennifer left that other place and if Stephan Stearns was with her. Stay woke. Because I believe somebody else has a story to tell us about Jennifer, about Malon, and about Stephan. Thank you for your time. You've been listening to the Vault Excel. Thank you.